Hey everyone, Tony from BikeBerry here. Let's talk about direct comparisons. Like, how does the bullet train compare with the Stage 4? Let's roll. So as you all know, the Stage 4 on the Schwinn bike here is my first build, so it's a really well broken in engine. There's really no performance modifications done. Yeah, it has an expansion chamber, which does give it a little bit of an edge in the performance area. But other than that, I haven't done anything except ride it and just keep it tuned up. It works really well. On the other hand, the bullet train is one that I just got together, and I've just been riding it about a week or two, and it is an amazing performer, but it has a whole different way that it feels and that it rides compared to like the Stage 4. If you were to ask me, well, how would I know which one I would want? Which one would be for me? Well, that depends on what your goals are. Do you want something that you can modify, or do you want something that's just reliable and you could cruise around town that'll go decently fast? Like, those are the questions that you must ask and answer. So I'm hoping in this series that we're going to do, I didn't think of it at first as a series, but the more that I think about it, I think it's important to have direct comparisons of similar engines and dissimilar ones, just so we could say, hey, if you're into racing and you want to start at a base level with an engine, and then you want to do all this, these tricks to it, this is the one you should get. If you want to just cruise and you want reliability, this is the one you should get, right? So the same is said for the sprocket comparisons and all of that. I think engines deserve the same comparisons as anything else. And as we all know, 6680cc engines. Now, where that comes from is, these are made in China, and their measuring system for the cc's, they would say it's 80. In America, we would end up saying it's 66 is a true cc performance level for it. So that's the why that number exists, that, slash. But it's a starting point. This is the base engine you get. They're relatively inexpensive. We have really great kits that give you few performance parts to get you started in the right direction. Then the rest, you can take it and do what you want with it. The cool thing about a 6680cc engine is you can really shape it and mold it to what you really want it to do. Now, stepping up into the bullet train, though, adds a whole different kind of reliability and functionality to really a similar engine. I would love for you to comment below any questions that you have specifically about each type of engine. If I would know that, then what I'll do is I'll create further videos elaborating on the insight that people actually want to know. So without further ado, let's get into the specs of each one. Well, let's just look at some of the features of the Stage 4 engine kit. As you notice, it has a manual clutch, which is this cable, which pulls that lever, okay? So that disengages inside of here. Let's actually pull the case apart to show you what the clutch looks like and how it works. With the cover taken off, you can see that this gear is connected directly to the piston. That is the main driver, okay? Then it translates to here to turn your wheels, okay? And then that's connected to the gear on the other side. This is the clutch plate, and when this lever, see if we can get you to see this. So when I pull this lever in, look at the edge of this plate and see how it moves up or down, okay? That engages or disengages your clutch. So when that lever is pulled in, you are disengaged, okay? You can pedal, right, while the engine is running. As soon as you let the lever go, then it engages and you're off and running. The core of this is a 6680cc two-stroke engine. The bore and displacement is 47 by 38 millimeter, which equals 66. So just so you guys know. If you notice, there's two parts here. So you have your main housing for your piston, right? Some people call it a jug, all these terms. And then your head, right? You could take this head off. You could try different ones and all of that. You could, change this out for a different type if you wanted to. All kinds of things that you can do. The main thing to note is that this is one part and this is another part. So you have a lot of options to modify or upgrade your engine. Because these engines are so popular, almost every part of them is something that you can modify and update, upgrade. There's so many parts out there. People are doing such cool things with them. But you could take this whole magneto assembly and upgrade it. Now, we give you an upgraded one. See how big that coil of wire is? Pretty cool, huh? But just so you know, like, there's, high performance clutch plates that you can get. This is just the stock one, so you can upgrade that. You can, change out your magneto assembly, get different ones that'll perform differently. You can really take this as a core engine and build it out to your heart's content. So now let's talk about the bullet train. Wow, the bullet train is what I would consider a different animal. Yes, it has the same displacement, 6680 cc, power range. But if you look, this is a one-piece head, okay? One-piece jug, one-piece everything. You can't do anything modification-wise to this because it kind of is what it is. It has a centrifugal clutch, which works by really just when you roll the throttle back, it just starts going. There's no clutch. Over on this side, I have a dual brake lever for the disc brakes I have, and then disc brake there. See that? Okay, so this is just brakes, nothing else. There's no clutch in there. It's a centrifugal clutch, which you just roll back the throttle, and it grabs the hold in here, and you start going. It's really smooth, and it works really well. I'm so impressed with it. Here's what Wikipedia has to say about it. Centrifugal clutch. So basically, it's an automatic clutch that uses centrifugal force to operate. The output shaft is disengaged at low rotational speeds and engages more at high rotational speeds. I think it's around 2,000 RPMs. These arms fly out, grab a hold, and then your tire starts moving. As soon as you decrease the RPMs, then they collapse in, and then they disengage basically, and you're just cruising along. Very cool. It has a special connection here, and like a ring that's, like a crush ring, that is your gasket instead of the paper type, and this exhaust. So you'd have to weld up a custom exhaust if you wanted to do, to have something. But this is a good place to note that if people are interested in those kind of things, those are performance parts that we'd be willing to make if there was enough interest. So put your comment below if there's enough interest in you using this engine, but you want a better, higher performing exhaust for it, or any other part. Also, this has an electric start on it. As you notice, there's a battery hanging down the bottom. So it has an electric start. If you look, there's a push button here. This is the on or off. Okay, so whichever way you slide it, turns it on, gives it power, and then you push this button to start it. This red switch doesn't do anything. They use this for other projects, so on here, it's just these two switches that are functional. It's the same size of carburetor as the other two strokes, so you can switch out. As you notice, I put the HP carb on here, and I love it, and I really wanted it because it has the automatic choke on it. When you push this lever down, it's choked, and when you start it, so you press the start button, and it turns the engine over. When you roll back the throttle all the way, it pops up this choke lever automatically versus you just having to lift it up. See, I can't even lift it up because I have to do it where I roll it back. Let's do that. See? So automatic choke. And around on this side, you can see that it has a pull start. So if your battery dies or your starter stops working, then you have a pull start option. I did do the pull option as my first way to start the engine. It started right up. But as you can see, all of this is one integral thing. There's really no modifications like you can do on the other one. I'm sure we'll get into a teardown someday on this engine. Maybe I'll have them send me a damaged one or whatever, and we can start pulling apart and looking at the inside of it. But really, there's no parts that are, for this as to modify it or make, give it performance enhancements. So again, if that's something you'd be interested in, if you have ideas and you're you would love some increased performance parts like a better exhaust and all that, let us know in the comments below. And if there's enough interest, we would consider making those kind of things. Also, if you notice, there's a whole electrical box to make this engine do its thing, which is, you have your normal CDI for your spark plug, just like any of them do. But you have your electronic ignition, and you have your solenoid that goes with your starter down here. If you notice, this one just has a CDI. Okay, so you can even get upgraded versions of those, which we'll have future videos on, by the way. And then but that's the only electronics. So here's one thing to note as a big difference between this and the regular 6680cc. Let's check out these wide pedals, okay? Now, it doesn't come with this bottom bracket, the wider one. So you'll have to order that if your application requires it. Mine didn't. This worked well for me. These come with the kit, so it worked fine for me. It may not for you. Depends on your build and your bike. But check out how wide these are. Both of them are bent out. So anyway, it's a wide engine compared to the regular 6680cc. Well, what more can we say about the two-stroke on this, classic number 7 here? So this is just a stage 4 kit, and it has an expansion chamber on it, which definitely gives it increased performance throughout the whole throttle range. But overall, these engines are just scrappy. They want to go fast. They bog down with low RPMs and all that. They're great. I think it's the core reason why we love them all. But in comparison to, the Bullet Train, which I feel like is more of a stabilized, just a good solid running moped-like engine. So this is my first time of getting this started and riding. I did pull start it once, but this is my first time electric starting it. It took me a little bit to figure out, how often I need to choke it, things like that. But to be honest, right out of the gate, it just felt smooth. Like, it had some engine noise and kind of, the whines that a new engine makes. But overall, it just was smooth, It idled really well, which I did set up the carburetor, to my usual kind of beginning specs, and there's videos of that you can check out. But overall, it started right up and it just ran. Now, it's not a top-end performer or anything like that, because you do have the centrifugal clutch in play, right? But if you want like a moped daily rider kind of feel, this is it. It's definitely rock solid. It's smooth and everything. Now, it just has a regular exhaust, which is super quiet, performs well. I think, expansion chamber could give it, but that's something that if you want those kind of performance parts, please let us know. If there's enough interest, then we'll start, we'll plan on producing those kind of things. But there definitely has to be enough interest to it. But as it sits as a, stock thing, a stock engine, it just runs really well. It's there was times where I was going up and down the hills and everything, because my road that I use is a testing route. It has all the surfaces. So one thing about the speed of these engines is you're cruising along and it's just a smooth ride. You're going uphill, downhill, and all that. But I noticed as I was going downhill, so you got a little bit of momentum there. It started to go pretty good, where I had to lay off the throttle and everything. So I haven't done top end tests because it's not broken in enough yet, but it's definitely one of those things that I think it can really supply all needs as a daily commuter. You could go at a decent speed. It starts, stops, slows down, all the things really well. And so I definitely would consider it, mostly if you're looking for a daily cruiser that you can just hop on, start up, very minimal pedaling, where the regular two strokes you have to pedal, quite a bit. This is just a lot easier. Thank you for watching this episode. I hope it helped you decide between the Bullet Train, 6680cc and the regular 6680cc. They're both great engines. The Bullet Train is definitely just something that's, I would say, is more of a rock solid, daily rider, cruising moped-like kind of engine. I'm excited to be riding this one and to give you more data. So please comment below after you've liked this video and subscribed to the channel. Anything that you would like to know more specifically about you know, either engine and the comparisons between the two if you're on the fence of deciding. Now, you know, anytime there's a sale going on, I highly encourage you guys to order. You know, definitely order something that you don't have. So if you don't have a bullet train, get it. It's amazing. And get a bike, you know, find a bike frame that you could put it on just like I did. And, you know, it's just it's a different feel. It's a different kind of cruising. So thank you again. I appreciate you. Let's have a wonderful day. Let's roll.